Hello, welcome to Hari Sadhana 108. Thank you for being in my journey. Today I will be reading Part 9 of Chapter 22, The Fulfillment of Sita's Work. In previous part, we witnessed Mata Sita's departure from earth to her celestial home. Moving on, Soma narrates further. The years passed, and a time came when I began to miss Mata terribly. All the years during the exile, I never felt her absence, but this was different. One day the sorrow became overwhelming, and I fell onto the ground, calling out to Vasundharama, "Why have you taken my Mata?" I cried. "Why could I not follow her?" Just then I heard footsteps, and I felt two arms gently lifting me from the ground. I heard his voice, that sweet and caring voice. "Why these tears, Soma?" I looked up and into the calm and steady eyes of Sri Ram. "Prabhu, the only purpose of my life was to serve her. Now that she is gone, gone?" he exclaimed. "Have you forgotten her words to you that day?" "But why, Prabhu, can I not see her, feel her presence if she is here?" "Sometimes we humans cannot see what is right in front of us. Look, Soma, and see her step out of the sunlight. See her beautiful form rise from the earth. Look, Soma, open your eyes." He gently tapped me on the forehead, and indeed, I saw her smiling at me, stepping out from between the streams of sunlight, emerging from the earth and swaying in the gentle breezes. She was everywhere. Sri Ram stayed with me for several hours and allowed me to fix him a meal. Then he left, but his blessing has stayed with me until today. Everywhere I look, I see Mata, so I continue to abide with her here. Since our two cottages belonged to the hermitage, I had them build me a small hut near Mata's meditation spot in the forest. That is how I came to live here. Sri Ram would bring the boys every year on the anniversary of Mata's transformation, and I have held their daughters, Mata's granddaughters, just as I promised her. But since Sri Ram left this world, I have rarely seen love and Kush. Soma smiled. I learned from Hanuman about the time when Sri Ram left his body. It was early one morning when before dawn, when Sri Ram arose and went down to the river for meditation. He found a quiet spot where he could be undisturbed. Hanuman was away from Ayodhya at the time, but suddenly felt a call from Sri Ram, and so with great speed he made his way to Ayodhya and found Sri Ram meditating by the river. Dawn had broken, and many of the residents were gathering to see their Maharaja, but he sat undisturbed. Suddenly Hanuman saw Mata approach. No one else seemed to see her, but as she approached Sri Ram, Hanuman asked her sadly, "Mata, you have come to take my lord." She nodded. "Then take me as well. I have no more purpose here." Mata shook her head. "Hanuman Putra, you must stay here until the cycle of time finds completion. You must feed the world on our behalf." Hanuman said he couldn't tell if it was Mata or Sri Ram who was speaking. It was as if their voices had become one. Mata sat down beside Sri Ram. For a moment, Sri Ram opened his eyes and looked at Hanuman. "Hanuman, you are our eyes and ears, our feet and hands, feeding and serving the world, and our hearts sending love continually to everyone and everything. That is why you have come unto this world, so that our love will carry the world forward through this cycle of time." After speaking these words, he closed his eyes. Mata placed her hands upon his, and Sri Ram's body dissolved into a million points of light, falling on the river, the trees, and filling the sky, blanketing the earth. In the same way that Mata had left her physical form, so did he. When the light cleared, neither form was present. In this way, they returned to their celestial home. Soma's eyes were closed and she felt silent, her narrative over. For what seemed like a long time, there was a complete silence in the darkened room. The evening had slipped into the depths of light. Without us noticing, suddenly small lights were lit. I opened my eyes and looked around and saw that the room was filled to capacity with hermits, some seated, some standing, some outside the window. They had all come to hear Soma once again recite the story of Sri Ram and Mata Sita. Soma suddenly opened her eyes and exclaimed in surprise and joy, "So you have come after such a long time." I turned to see who she was addressing. An ascetic stood in the doorway, bending so that his tall frame could fit through the door. His appearance was unusual, different from the rest, but there was not enough light to catch a good glimpse of him. He seemed to be someone with whom Soma was very familiar. "Forgive me, Soma. I have been far away. I heard the names of Sri Ram and Mata Sita, and so I have come, and I have brought food for your guests." The other ascetics in the room made way for him to approach Soma, and as they did, one by one they touched his feet in great reverence. He laid the basket before Soma. She made an effort to get up, but he said, "Don't rise. I have come to give you this." She shifted onto her knees and laid her head at his feet, saying, "It is enough for me to catch sight of you." He smiled, and as quickly as he had arrived, he left the room and disappeared into the night. A great joy emanated from Soma now. Whoever the ascetic was, he had a great effect on her. She distributed the food, and then one by one the ascetics all took their leave. Only my mother and I remained. Jai Shri Ram.